Hey guys, it's Lemon Jose and welcome to another review. Today we're going to be reviewing Spider-Man PS4. A Spider-Man video game. Spider-Man video games have always been a thing as far as I can tell. People love the Spider-Man for the PS1 and especially Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 3 kind of flopped with fans and the game started to get a lot of hate. And then this game came out and people were ecstatic. This could be the next Spider-Man game since Spider-Man 2. Let's find out if it really is. The game starts out with a cool cutscene showing off Peter's dirty ass room. Seriously, man, what's up with that? But the cool thing is that there is some fan service to be had because there's a poster showing some of Spider-Man's old bad guys from the comics, like Scorpion, Kingpin, Rhino. It's pretty sick. Peter gets a message from his police radio thing that they're going to Fisk Tower to apprehend Wilson Fisk, or Kingpin as you guys may know him. Peter does his sick shit with his toes, puts on his web shooters and his suit, and then heads out to Fisk Tower. He talks to this girl called Yuri, who's working for the cops, and she gives him the rundown on what's happening. Let me add my 2 cents and say, I think it's cool shit that the cops are working with Spider-Man. Too much have I watched superhero movies and the cops are giant dickheads to the superhero. It's a nice change of pace. Anyway, back to the story. Oh my fucking god, it's ruined from Black Ops 4! Spider-Man is just doing his thing, making fun of the bad guys that he's obliterating. And then he goes inside Fisk Tower, saves some civilians, and confronts the big brute once and for all. Peter beats the shit out of him and we finally arrest him. He says that in 1 month, we will want him back. After that, Peter is getting ready to go to his real job. And this is something that really surprised me. His real job is an assistant scientist to Dr. Octavius. The Doc Ock is working with Peter Parker. I love this. And I say this because Doc Ock in this game is without a doubt the nicest and most relatable Doc Ock in the Spider-Verse. Him and Peter are working on prosthetics that he can actually move, so the handicapped can have a hand or a leg that works as well as a normal one, maybe even better. I like this concept, and the relationship between Peter and Octavius, it's remarkable. It's lighthearted. He even had a recording that my mom found where he talks about his latest work, and you can tell that he not only cares about Peter, but hell, he admires Peter. Anyway, Peter starts fixing up the arm and then leaves. Let me just talk about Yuri for a quick minute. Can I just say that the relationship between Yuri and Peter is fucking awesome? They constantly joke around with each other, but overall, they are very good friends. Yuri doesn't feel like a cop that hates Spider-Man or who is forced to work with him. She wants Spider-Man to be an asset to the cops, and well, now he is. I also love the Spider Cop shit that he did with Yuri in Mission 3.
You're in luck, Yuri. Your favorite tough but lovable, grizzled, seen-too-much detective is in town.
What? No. You promised you wouldn't do that
Spider Cop.
Please, no.
The chief never did understand Spider Cop. Thought he was a loose cannon.
Already regretting this.
By the way, good old J. Jonah Jameson is still trying to convince people that Spider-Man is a menace. But when you look at my brother playing the game, you might actually believe JJ. Anyway, the spider suit broke, so Peter's gonna go into Octavius' lab to fix it. However, the fucking doc comes in and wonders what the hell Peter's doing. Yep, she found out that Peter is Spider-Man. Designer? Are you telling me that you're supposed to be one of the smartest doctors in New York City and you can't put 2 and 2 together? What kind of fucking brain do you have, man? Anyway, he's also keeping it a secret and he even makes the designs for the new suit. Look at that fucking white spider. Look at that. That looks sick. But I think I'm just gonna switch to Tobey Maguire because I'm a Tobey fanboy. After that shit, Peter gets a call from a dude called Martin Lee, and this dude is planning to have a party for Aunt May at the Feast Center. The Feast Center is a homeless shelter, and Aunt May has been working there for 5 years. Peter goes there and has a nice little emotional talk with May about how he wishes that there are more helpful people out there like me.
Sacrificing so much and asking for nothing. I just wish there were more people like you in the world.
He's right. 5 years ago, you walked in here and told me you were inspired by my mission to help others. Now it's you who inspires me. Thank you, May, for everything. Here's to many more years of service.
So Peter gotta go now, and that looks a little fucking sus, not gonna lie. And Peter gets a call from good old Yuri saying to check out the fish auction to see if there's anything suspicious happening. We go there, and it seems that some dudes wearing antique Chinese masks took a lady hostage and want to find a file of some sort. Peter takes out a few of them and then bumps into MJ?
Hey, Pete.
So MJ and Peter broke up, by the way. Still don't know why, but they did. And they haven't seen each other until now. Wow, what a reunion, right? MJ tells her story about why she's here in the first place, and it turns out she works in a Daily Bugle now, and her editor told her to check that bitch out. MJ lied about her being sent from an editor called Craig, and she keeps asking questions to this lady about Fisk, and if anything ever seemed off about him now that he's in jail. She ain't taking it and wants MJ to leave, but MJ finds her way into this room that has a statue. This statue has some important shit inside of it, so she does a Resident Evil puzzle, and then bam, it opens. She takes a little sneak peek at them, and they say something about devil's breath. But before she could find out more, the demon guys break in and then she found Peter. Peter and MJ have a plan to save the lady, and they actually do it. But these demon guys have some blue shit around their hands, and even transfer it to their weapons as if it's fucking Mjolnir or something. We beat their ass, and Peter thinks he knows someone who can tell him what the mask is and where it's from.
Love seeing you two together again. You always were my favorites.
But first we gotta take down Herman, aka Shocker. And he gets dogged on pretty easily. Yuri even says the nicest thing to us.
But you love me, right, Yuri?
I tolerate you.
Wow. That might be the nicest thing you've ever said to me.
Have I already mentioned that I fucking love this relationship? Anyway, we go to the boy Martin Lee, and he tells us that the mask might be connected to dangerous people. He even has some Vietnam flashbacks.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
By the way, just letting you guys know that my spider suit will be changing a lot because my brother loves to use spider suits that are not Tobey Maguire, and my mom wants to use the white Spider-Man suit that they gave me. Dr. Octavius calls us and says he has a customer that's willing to volunteer with the work. We go over there and he actually grabs the fucking cup. Finally, a win for Dr. Oh, fuck, never mind. A city worker comes and calls this place a safety hazard, and the mayor comes in. And would you believe that it's Norman Osborn? Willem Dafoe over here used to work with Dr. Octavius, and now they're arch enemies. He's obviously doing this because he doesn't want Octavius to win their little science war and wants Octavius to join Oscorp instead. But Doc Ock ain't taking that shit. Now Octavius is at a loss and tells Peter he might need to look for another job. And speaking of Oscorp, good old Harry Osborn left for Europe a while back and left behind some research that his mom was working on and asked Peter to look out for them. We even took care of some pollution with it. Ooh, someone's robbing the bank. Shocker! Bro, I just put your ass in jail like 5 minutes ago. How the fuck did you get out so fast? Anyway, we're having a sick boss fight and he's telling me that some dudes in masks are threatening him. Obviously, good old Pete Park put 2 and 2 together and thought of the demon guys from earlier. We beat Herman and sent his ass to jail once again. The next thing we gotta do is find a Fisk hideout and search the place for any illegal shit. An officer called Jefferson Davis, or Jeff, came with a warrant and is gonna help us out. Jeff is a cool guy, just a normal friendly cop, but I did wish he got a little more character development. Anyway, we explore and find out the demons took lethal weapons that Fisk was hiding and put that shit on some trucks and drove out. Now I need to figure out what they're gonna use it for. Well, we did. The next day, they tried wreaking havoc, even coming with their own little brute and helicopter.
Hey, big guy.
Apparently, they're trying to kill Fisk's men for some reason. When we beat them, we see a kid who's recording Spider-Man, and some kid calls him...
Yo, Miles. Hey, fanboy.
Wait, Miles Morales? From the Spider-Verse movie? Oh, hell yeah, bro, I'm a big fan! So the good old Osborn rally started, and Peter is still trying to get into MJ's pants. But obviously, this is Peter Parker, so he's an absolute train wreck at this kind of shit.
But, instead of coffee, maybe we could have dinner instead. I could come over, I'll cook. Or we could, meet at a totally neutral location for a completely normal meal, cooked by professionals.
But Norman Osborn gets a call from somebody and it's a death threat. Peter gets Spidey sense and the demons are attacking. Some guy with a bomb looks like he's being possessed or something and blows up the stage. We are now taking control of Miles and it looks like Peter is knocked out. Miles runs to go find his pop, which I forgot to say is the cop, Jeff. Miles makes his way to the stage, but it looks like things are over for him. Until...
Enough! We have to leave. Now!
Martin Lee? Bro, I knew you were sus with that ice shit you were doing to me an hour ago. Okay, you're going down, buddy. Oh yeah, and Jeff's dead. Now we're in a funeral and Peter talks to Miles for the first time, but it doesn't exactly go so well.
I know you don't know me, but I just wanted to say...
I know what you're going through. That's what you were gonna say, right? Or it all gets easier with time. Or don't worry. It's part of God's plan.
I'm sorry about that. I don't know what I'm gonna do with him.
He just lost his father, you heartless bitch! MJ also found out from interviews that Martin Lee has the power to corrupt people. Peter is beating up some more demon bitches, but then this group of armed soldiers come and try to kill the demon guys. Obviously, Spider-Man being Spider-Man, he stops these guys, but then it gets trapped by this bitch. Her name is Silver, and her team is a privately funded group. For some reason, the bitch hates me, and not only that, but she's Russian.
Next time you get in my way, I will not be so gentle.
Well, at least Yuri's on my side, so fuck off, Silver. Anyway, we go to the feast center to see what Mr. Lee is hiding in his office. And I really like this office because it shows that Lee is not completely evil. Yes, you heard me correctly. The office is filled to the brim with shit that shows Lee's good side and sympathetic side. We don't know what beef he has with Norman Osborn, but we do know that he isn't entirely possessed by his inner demon. There are these notes and shit that you can find in his office, and sometimes in these notes, he even says he regrets doing this sometimes.
Lee sounds conflicted. Almost like he didn't want to head down this path.
I like that they're trying to humanize Lee, especially after Mal's dad died. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of feel bad for this guy. He even seems like he gives a shit about Aunt May.
Lee really did care about May. Hope this means she's out of danger.
Shit like this shows that Lee's not a bad person, he's just doing some bad things. However, I can't exactly root for him either because he killed innocent people. So all I need right now is a motivation. Let's hope we find it. Turns out he has a hidden room behind a portrait of his parents that apparently abandoned him when he was little. And this room is creepy as shit. There's even a photo negative picture of Lee's parents, and Peter finds a folder that contains some shit about a project called Devil's Breath. And there's a tape recorder next to it as well.
Can feel my power growing, feeding off my anger. Father would say I've lost the path of balance, but he could never understand. The only way to fight a monster is to become one.
The place also has a failsafe, and thankfully Peter stops it from exploding all the evidence. He finds the exit, and on the other side, he finds Lee. Him and Peter have a very hostile conversation while Aunt May is there, and this is honestly hilarious. Lee then corrupts some dudes to beat the shit out of Peter, but obviously Peter's superior. Good old Dr. Octavius calls us and says that he might be having yet another breakthrough. Peter comes and he's programming the arm to grab the cup. The ship malfunctions and Doc kind of blows off some loud ass steam.
Damn it! This is all your fault, Norman, you son of a...
Well, I know who you're not voting for in the next election. Sorry. I have a habit of making bad jokes in tense situations.
I never thought Peter would have to say something like that. Anyway, he fixes the arm and now it's working perfectly. It seems now that Otto wants to not only help people have their arms or legs back, but also to make them even better than people with normal arms and legs. I don't think this is a bad idea, but this kind of thinking could possibly turn him into Doc Ock. And honestly, I don't want that because I love this guy way too much for him to become a bad guy right now. Anyway, MJ calls us over to her crib and she says that she wants to team up with Peter.
What if we teamed up?
What, you want to be my sidekick? Like a spider girl?
No, not like that, you fucking moron. She wants to be your partner. Whatever that means. Anyway, she tells a story about her going into the address that Peter gave her and she met Tombstone.
You got some stones, Rick. Let's see if they break.
How the hell did you survive that? And look, Peter and MJ are bonding again. So MJ tells Peter to find this dude called Charles Standish and save him from some scary demons that want Devil's Breath. Turns out Devil's Breath is a top secret Oscorp project that went stupid wrong. Wrong enough to make it a threat to literally everyone on the world. Charles told us to find this dude called Dr. Delaney, as he worked with Devil's Breath as well. The dude is at a Halloween party and of course he's dressed up as Lizard. Haha, Dr. Connor's joke. We find him, but it turns out good old Lee got to his lizard ass first and corrupts him to give him the info he needs.
His name, Dr. Morgan Michaels. Thank you.
No!
Holy shit, the dude actually killed himself? That shit was bloody! And we also found out Devil's Breath is actually meant to be a cure for any kind of genetic disease. Obviously, it didn't go so well, but there's a dude called Dr. Michaels who has Devil's Breath, so now we gotta find Dr. Michaels. Jesus Christ, man, the story's going a million miles an hour! Oh no, but MJ's trying to talk to Charles Standish, so now I gotta save her ass before the Sable guys kill her because they might think she's trying to kill Standish. Yay, MJ, you're a fucking perfect partner, you know? Anyway, he says that something big is gonna go down at Grand Central Station, and Peter accidentally knocks his ass out before he can say anything else.
Definitely not a Sable guy. Sorry, Charlie.
I fucking love this guy. The boy Otto calls us up to his lab again, and when we get there, we find that he made neural sensors to control the arms with his mind. Okay, now you're kind of scaring me, Otto. Don't turn into Doc Ock, please. He plays around with the arms, and holy shit, look at that. Look at that. Otto tries to take off the neural sensor, but apparently he can't. He says that he has degenerative neurological disorder.
My doctors call it a degenerative neurological disorder. Probably caused by overexposure to toxic chemicals in my reckless youth. You're the only one who knows, Peter. I'd like to keep it that way.
I gotcha, Doc. So now we find that homie Miles is in trouble, so we save his ass, and he's fanboying a little too hard, but it's funny. I like it.
You're Spider-Man. You're the amazing Spider-Man. You're the spectacular Spider-Man. And a few other choice adjectives Jameson uses.
But Miles wants to learn how to fight, and Peter actually gives him some useful tips. I wasn't expecting that. That's kind of cool.
Don't let the adrenaline get to you. Breathe slow. Breathe deep. Relax. Hip square to your opponent. Let them make the first move. Now use your feet. When they go off balance, look for an opening. Boom.
Like that?
Yeah, that's it. Okay. Only this time, just let me have it. Right on the jaw. Okay? I can take it.
Oh, sorry.
No. It's all good. You keep that up and you'll be fine.
Okay, but seriously, next time you punch me again, I'll suck you in the beehole. Anyway, it also turns out Miles is helping at the feast center since he thinks it's better than more therapy. Congratulations, man. But he's also having some daddy dead trauma, which doesn't help at all. Fuck you, game. Spider-Man finally finds the demons and the man himself, Martin Lee. He sort of puts me in that kind of dream hallucination thing where he's trying to convince me to join him. I guess he's using his corrupt power. Can I just say how bad I feel for old Spidey? This dude is being guilt-tripped at every turn for not saving the people at the Osborn rally, and his voice when he's trying to justify himself is so sad to me.
All the souls you've lost, the innocent victims you couldn't save.
Martin, their blood is on your hands!
Their bodies filled the gutter, and you did nothing!
I can't save everyone! I won't abandon you in the darkness, Martin!
But Spidey doesn't give in and escapes the dream. But the car crashed and Martin escaped with a devil's breath, and the bitch Sable is blaming us for what happened.
So-called superhero. You think you save people, but you just make it worse. This is your fault.
My fault? He was under your protection. Do you really need two of those?
Have I already expressed my hate for this woman, by the way? And once again, MJ is doing something stupid. MJ, please, just stop it. Stop it right now. She's at Grand Central to see what this big thing Charles was talking about. And, well, we find out pretty soon. Martin Lee comes here with his demon crew and puts everyone at hostage. If Norman Osborn doesn't come fast enough, then everyone in the station will die a slow and painful death. He turns on the timer for Devil's Breath, but MJ, with the help of Peter, obviously, disabled the machine. Lee tries escaping through a train and we beat the shit out of him. Now we gotta stop the train before it crashes. I know what to do.
That totally worked last time.
A Tobey Maguire reference. I love it. Anyway, we gotta stop the train in a much more destructive way, and we finally take Martin Lee to jail. Let's go! You know what? I'm feeling good right now. I'm feeling really good. Otto's called me up to his lab. Perfect. I'm gonna help my boy with whatever he's dealing. Oh my god, no! No, why did you do this? Just when I thought we won the game, he brings out the arms. Why, Otto? Why?
Otto, the neural web isn't isolating your motor neurons. It could be affecting other parts of your brain, your inhibitions, your mood. I just think we need some more testing.
We've got enough testing!
For the first time in my life, I don't feel like a failure. I feel like me.
Oh no, he's gone off the deep end. But somehow we actually calm him down. And he says this.
Thank you, Peter. For everything.
Just don't turn evil, my boy. After that scary debacle, Yuri calls me and tells me that the prisoners escaped their cells and broke into the armory. We beat the shit out of them, but then... Electro? Rhino? Vulture? Yep, the biggest, baddest guys in the world, the Spooder Man, escaped the raft, including Martin Lee. They kick Peter's ass pretty harshly, and as Peter tries to escape, a new challenger approaches. No! It happened! You were the chosen one! You were meant to help people, not harm them! This was honestly a surprise for me when I was playing the game. I really thought Otto would be a good guy, but nope. Honestly, I should have seen the signs, but I don't care. Otto then goes to Times Square and releases Devil's Breath onto the whole city. 24 hours later, everyone is experiencing a sickness around the whole of New York. A pandemic, you can say. Wow, these games are filled with predictive programming, aren't they? Well, at least this one feels more deadly than the actual pandemic going on in the world right now. And it seems like MA is coming up with a cough, and I don't like that. Don't die, MA, please. And now Sable classify me as a threat and are trying to kill me. Come on, man. Seriously? We find Otto's secret lair next to where he planted Devil's Breath, and he even made tapes for all the bad guys. It's kind of cool.
Adrian, what bitter irony that your miraculous wings should have brought such horrors on your body. Thankfully, you are now working for me. When our work is settled, the treatment I've developed will cure you. You won't shuffle off this mortal coil just yet, my friend. Oh, Martin, when I first realized it was you targeting Osborn these past weeks, I was shocked and saddened. But then, as the situation evolved before my eyes, I felt inspired. You took the bold steps I had always dreamed of, Martin, and you took them without hesitation. I am honored now to join you on this path towards true justice.
Turns out this place was a trap for me, and now Vulture and Electro are trying to beat my ass at the same time. It didn't actually take that long to beat both of them, and I get out with victory in my system. Scorpion finds me though and injects me with his green poison. This causes Peter to hallucinate about Otto. This is actually kind of heartbreaking, as this shows how he feels about Otto turning evil in a personal way.
Stop running from me! Let me try!
I want nothing from you. You're a failure at life, love, career. You bring nothing but pain.
No, stop! I'm not giving up on you!
To think I called you a friend.
I am your friend, Otto. Please! I've always supported you. I always will!
Because Peter is hallucinating, this gives us a chance to see more about how guilty he feels about Otto. And this Spider-Man is so good at making me feel emotional. How do you do it, man? Peter found the cure for the poison and came out a heartbroken man. Miles over here accidentally finds Rhino and tries to leave ASAP. He actually does, but then he finds someone getting their ass beat by some prisoners, and he decides he's gonna do something about it.
You can't just push people around like that.
Or what? Like this? Haha, kid's got guts.
Hip squared.
What the hell's he saying?
Not gonna be saying anything in a second.
That's what I'm talking about, Miles. First try and he knocks the bitch out. Anyway, Peter goes to where Rhino's at and Scorpion is helping out Rhino. After beating their ass, they have a little argument that basically helps me win the whole fight.
I failed? Yes, you freak show!
A little forced together time might help you boys learn to play nice.
After Peter wins that fight, MJ breaks into Norma's office to see if we can find the cure for Devil's Breath. While MJ is searching, however, she finds some really weird shit about Harry and his trip to Europe. The weird thing is that Harry never left for Europe. Yeah, you heard me, he never left. As a matter of fact, in his journal, it says that he has the same sickness that his mom had, and his journal is right next to a secret hospital bed. He said his dad was working on a cure, and that cure was called Devil's Breath. Since Devil's Breath went completely wrong, the game is implying that Harry is dead. This was tense as shit because this just came out of the blue. You probably forgot about Harry by the time you reached the Swiss, honestly. But it was a twist that made you feel a little uneasy and a little afraid. I love it. MJ finds a secret room looking like the Green Goblin room in the Tobey movies, and she finds a tape from the past called the Martin Lee incident. It's a little boy and his parents, along with Norman Osborn and even Otto. Norman Osborn gave the kid some medicine, probably to help him some kind of sickness that he has, but something's happening to the little boy instead. He's starting to glow more and more until...
What have you done?
It was all Norman's fault that Lee became who he is now, why he's able to turn into a photonegative state, and why he hates Norman with a passion. After that, Peter tries to find Lee, and he does. Martin Lee has the anti-serum for Devil's Breath, and Peter beat the shit out of him, as well as using talk no jutsu.
This won't bring your parents back.
Why do you insist on trying to save this piece of scum?
I'm trying to save you, Martin. Don't let revenge win. Fight it!
After defeating him, Otto literally just annihilated Peter and took Norman with him. Even though Peter's not in a stable condition to stand up, he still wants to beat Otto no matter what. Peter asks to go see Aunt May, and when he does, she's dying on a hospital bed because of Devil's Breath. Since Otto has the anti-serum, it's Peter's job to beat Otto, take the anti-serum, and save his aunt. Peter makes a new suit for the job, and decides to fight Otto one last time. Oh, and also Miles got bitten by the same spider that bit Peter. Let's go, baby! While Peter and Otto are fighting their emotional battle, Peter's mask breaks, and he tries to make sure Otto doesn't see his face.
Such a disappointment. Parker.
You knew?
Oh, thank God. I thought you were a fucking idiot in the beginning, bro. But yeah, Otto knew the whole time and still tried to fight Peter and make sure he doesn't win. It's kind of a sad reveal because it shows how far to the deep end Otto has really gotten to.
You meant so much to me! We were going to change the world!
Peter rips off the chip and Otto falls straight to the floor. And this scene is fucking sad. This is where all of Peter's feelings spill out into one emotional scene.
I've worshipped you. Your mind. Your conscience. Wanting to help others. The way you never gave up.
That's because men like us have a duty, a responsibility, to use our talents in the service of others. Even if they don't appreciate it, we have to do what's best for those beneath us, whether they understand it or not.
No, you're wrong! You are everything I wanted to be! You just threw it away!
And this line just straight up kills my soul.
No! If they put me away, they'll take my arms!
But in the end, Peter left Otto there to be picked up by the police, and it is gut-wrenching.
Even when it hurts like hell.
Peter, where are you going? Peter!
Peter comes back to Feast, but he's left with an ultimatum. If he uses the anti-serum on Aunt May right now, they won't be able to make future Devil's Breath anti-serums. So now it's time for Peter to say goodbye to Aunt May.
Take off your mask. I want to see my nephew.
You knew?
Jesus Christ, everyone knows now, don't they? Anyway, he was definitely considering giving her the cure, but in the end, he chose to save everybody else. Three months have passed and everything seems to be going fine. MJ even kisses Peter and says that she always loved him. And not only that, but Miles told Peter about the spider bite, and this is where he shows himself to Miles. It's a pretty sick scene, and I can't wait to see how this goes in the future. And now the final scene. Norman opened up a secret room, and in it is Harry. Norman says he's still trying to find a cure, but something icky and black is inside the machine that Harry's in. Venom, perhaps? Holy shit, guys, the story was fucking amazing. Honestly, I don't know what I was expecting from the story the first time I played it, but I knew as soon as I met Otto that it was going to be a different kind of Spider-Man experience. Let me talk about the characters real quick. Peter Parker in this game is an absolute god. This Peter Parker is very different compared to the other Spider-Mans before him in the movie industry. He gets the funniest part of Peter Parker from the Andrew Garfield movies, and he gets the badassery of the Peter Parker from the Tobey Maguire movies. But one thing the Spider-Man has that no other Spider-Man even compares to is his will. His will to stay as Spider-Man and protect everybody, no matter how bad the situation gets. You see, the Spider-Mans in the movies don't have the strongest will. Tobey Maguire quit being Spider-Man in the second movie, and while I understood why, it still showed that he didn't have the strongest will to be Spider-Man. Andrew Garfield also didn't have the strongest will because spoilers for Amazing Spider-Man 2. 3, 2, 1. He quit being Spider-Man for half a year because Gwen Stacy died. Now again, I understand that it was completely your fault that Gwen died, bro, but there are so many people that needed you for those 6 months you weren't there. But this Spider-Man, at least to me, has undergone the most heartbreaking and valid excuses for not wanting to be Spider-Man anymore. MJ broke up with him because he was Spider-Man. A man that he admired, being Martin Lee, turned out to be the leader of a demon gang that he's been seeing recently. So many people died because he got knocked out during the fight, and it didn't take us long to find out how guilty he was feeling of all those people's deaths. Martin Lee even tried to break him so he could join the gang, but he fought back and destroyed the mask. And then this happened. The man he admired most in his entire life, his mentor, his friend, became Dr. Octopus. The amount of guilt that Peter feels from this is insane. Thanks to the hallucination from Scorpion, we dive deep into Peter's feelings about Otto turning evil, and he blames himself for not fixing the inhibitor chip earlier. It's painful to watch Peter like this, and then all his feelings spill out when he finally beats him. A scene that I still think is one of the most emotional Spider-Man scenes in history. And even after he could barely move, he still musters up the strength to get up and fight Otto. And then obviously, Aunt May dies from the Devil's Breath, and he had to choose not to save her with the cure so it could be used for other people. It's a sad scene that completely broke Peter, and yet, he still stayed as Spider-Man. I'm impressed with this motherfucker's will, honestly, and now he has an apprentice at his side. It's a Peter that never gave up no matter how difficult the situation was, and I love it. This Peter truly never gave up, not even once. Not to mention that any emotional scene with this dude is incredibly sad because his voice actor is incredible. I love this Peter Parker, and I think he'll go down as an iconic one. Otto Octavius is another amazing character in this game because he was a good man for like the first 15 hours, and then for the last 2 he became Doc Ock. However, I think how he became Doc Ock is amazing. He's a man who wants to use his intelligence to help the handicapped, and I admire what he's doing. Wanting to make advanced prosthetic arms is a cool motive, and he had it pretty well in the end, but it was his selfishness and hatred towards his former colleague Norman Osborn that truly turned him to the dark side. Since we found out he has a disorder that will eventually make his muscles useless, and in an attempt to make his body usable, he makes giant arms. These arms didn't corrupt him with AI like Spider-Man 2 did. I still hate that, by the way. But instead, it increases confidence to where he feels like these arms can help him achieve anything, including killing the man that destroyed his whole life. I think Norman fucking sucks because this dude has made Otto's life a living hell, and it pushed him to the deep end. Him turning evil was a shocking experience, and when he loses, he's a desperate man, a broken man. The line where he's like, "They'll take my arms," that shit hurts me every time I hear it. The arms have become a part of him now, and now they'll never go away. This guy is without a doubt my favorite Dr. Octopus, and I don't think that spot will ever change. Martin Lee is a weird one because I think his personality is very dry if you completely skipped his notes in his office. I think without them, he's just another guy that got fucked by Osborn, but in a less emotional way. But if you look at the notes in his office, he's actually a good person on the inside, even though the outside is a demon. He truly cared about Aunt May and everyone at Feast, but his hatred for Norman turned him into a demon, and it's finally taken toll. And now, he wants to exact his revenge on the man that ruined his whole life. Martin Lee with the notes is a character that I can feel for, but he has absolutely no substance as an actual character because he has no personality. As a matter of fact, he's pretty goddamn boring. MJ is a stupid bitch, and I hate it for always making Peter's life harder. Miles is a character that I see amazing potential for in the sequel, so I'm hoping they do some good shit with him. So yeah, overall, amazing story with great characters. I love it. The visuals in this game are extraordinary. The graphics, oh my god, the graphics! This was made in 2018 on the PlayStation 4, and it looks like it could be made on the PlayStation 5. The graphics have definitely held up over time. Also, the characters look great. Peter Parker looks familiar, like that feeling that you get when you see a stranger and you feel like you've seen them before, kind of like that. But he still looks completely different from every other Peter Parker, especially in the movies. He looks like his own Peter Parker, which is why I'm pissed off that they changed him to a Tom Holland wannabe in the remaster and the sequel. M.A. looks exactly like the one from the Spider-Verse, and that is already a win in my book. Otto looks like an older version of Doc Ock, and that helps out pretty well with the story and what he's trying to accomplish with Peter. Norman Osborn also looks identical to Willem Dafoe, and MJ looks hotter than Kirsten Dunst, so woo, she wins. The enemy designs look good. I like the demons with their antique mask and sick as fuck weapons like a sword and a whip. But really, let's talk about the villain designs. The villains look one-to-one with the comic book versions. Electro in this game looks fucking amazing. Electro in this game makes the one in Amazing Spider-Man 2 look like a fucking joke. Rhino is a gigantic creature that's somehow fucking human. Kingpin looks great. They got the same suit that he wears in almost every fucking media that he's in. Shocker even looks sick. And Spidey thinks so as well.
You know what, Herman? You have like zero personality. But your suit is awesome. Can we talk design details?
Speaking of suits, let's talk about the Spider-Man suits. You heard me right. We can change Spidey suits anytime, any place. And the suits look fucking beautiful. The new and improved suit that Dr. Octavius made for Peter at the beginning looks fresh as fuck. A white spider? I mean, come on, man, that's genius. Also, since the suit is the hottest new thing in terms of tech, he can now move his eyes, take pictures with his mask, scan every enemy that's in close and far proximity. You can obviously tell that got inspiration from the Tom Holland movies with the Stark suit tech, but I don't mind, since I actually really like the Stark suit tech. But I'm not gonna lie, the other suits in the game are 100% better looking, especially if you're a fan of the movies and or comics. I love the movie suits. Tobey Maguire looks gorgeous, especially in the loading screens. They even got Andrew Garfield, and not the one from the second movie. Nope, they got the one from the first one. And I'm so glad they did that because I really like the first movie suit, even the eyes. And they have both suits from the Tom Holland MCU movies, like the Stark suit and the upgraded suit. It also has the same eye thing as the game suit, so it kind of matches a little bit. And as for the other suits, you can easily get them by building them or by doing side quests. There's a 6th suit that you can get for doing all 12 Black Cat missions, and I mean, look at it. Look at it. This suit looks beautiful. The eyes are beautiful. The red spider logo just pops out. I love this suit, and it was so worth doing all those missions. And now we have the other suit that you get for doing all backpack missions, and you get the homemade suit. Yes! This suit always looked very cool to me in a way when I saw it in Homecoming, and because of that, it's one of my favorite suits to grind for. I can't put every suit in this vid, but I will show as many as I can right now. The visuals and character designs are great and fresh. Some are familiar, and some are unique. And dude, look at those loading screens. I mean, come on, like, look at the loading screens. But now let me talk about good old New York City. New York City looks identical to the real one. And obviously they have shops and buildings from the Spider-Man comics, like the Daily Bugle. They even added some new shit that expands the lore of the games, like the fucking Avengers Tower! I was not expecting this at all, and I'm glad they added it. Now we might have Iron Man in the future, ladies and gentlemen. Also, there are cool little collectibles that you can get that Spider-Man kept in his backpack for safekeeping, and I love these collectibles. We have things like a kid who drew him something, a plushie Spider-Man, a Nelson and Murdoch's business card?
Oh yeah, that blind guy gave me his card in case Spider-Man ever needs a lawyer. Wait, hold on. If he's blind, how did he know I was Spider-Man?
Bro, I'm such a big fan of Daredevil, so this was giant for me. They even have little references from the movies, like a wrestling poster that he got after he used his powers, just like the Tobey Maguire movies. A Spidey Squad fan club, the Spider Signal. We have little things from the comic book villains like Rhino's horn, or a book that Spider-Man blocked a bullet from some cops that shot him when they thought he was working for Electro. He even tried to make underarm webs because he wanted to glide like a bat. I mean, I love this. I love this. Everything in the visuals was made with love and care for not only Spider-Man, but for Marvel fans as well. This game truly set a standard for other Marvel games, and I hope that they have that Marvel love put into them as well. I'm gonna go ahead and talk about the soundtrack, and Jesus Christ, this soundtrack is the bomb. I don't know how to explain it, but the soundtrack has a Spidey feel to it. You know what I mean? Like when you hear it, you think Spider-Man. My two favorite pieces of music in this whole game has gotta be the title music and the music that plays when you're swinging around beautiful NYC. I knew I was gonna love this soundtrack because one of my favorite soundtracks in all of cinema is the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies. They have the best fucking music I've ever heard in a superhero movie, and the music defines Spider-Man. And I gotta say, the soundtrack truly has the Spider-Man feel. The voice acting, like I said in the story section, is really fucking good. Everybody feels like a human and not like an NPC. Even the NPC lines sound like real human beings. And obviously Spider-Man in this game is a fucking beast at voice acting. I love the jokes that he says in this game. It has a real Andrew Garfield feel to it. And I love the Amazing Spider-Man movies, in case you didn't tell. We also have Jameson. I mean, what else do I have to say about this man besides he's the single funniest character in the Spider-Verse, right next to Spider-Man.
Thanks. It was nuts. These dudes walk in like they own the place, waving guns around.
Appalling. When a businessman is afraid to make an honest living.
Yeah, it was a lifesaver that Spider-Man came along and stopped him.
Weren't you listening? He caused the problem! Forgive me for raising my voice. I'm emotional at the thought of what you went through. Sharon, our caller seems shaken. Let's let him go.
Yeah, this dude will never get old for me. As for the sound design, this game does a good job. The webbing sound accurate, the punches sound crunchy. Overall, the game does a good job with the sound direction, especially with the soundtrack. I can't stress enough how good the title music alone is. Anyway, time to get to nit and gritty of the game. The gameplay. The gameplay of Spider-Man PS4 is very complicated. And not in a bad way, mind you. I was just a little surprised to see that it wasn't just hit the bad guys and dodge a few times. There's so many factors to winning a fight. You see, this game has RPG elements because when you level up, you have one skill point that you can use to upgrade your arsenal, whether it's combat, defense, or web slinging. I'm talking about the web slinging shit before I get down to the combat, so let's get with it. The swinging in this game is insanely good. It doesn't feel clunky, it doesn't feel slow, it feels right. I don't know how they were able to make web swinging so tight and tuned perfectly, but also make it feel like you're Spider-Man, you know? Like it's just so fluid. They didn't make it to where it feels too perfect, because trust me, you feel like Spider-Man swinging around New York City, and I love it. And since you can upgrade your webs, the swinging is much more fun the more you upgrade it. Like this upgrade that lets you double swipe with the web to keep you in the air. I love it. It sounds minimal, but trust me, it keeps you focused in the swinging, and it feels more natural the more you play it. And the webs in combat are not that bad either, because they can do some crazy things, believe it or not. You can web people up, and if you upgrade it, you can even throw them. And the webs, just like Tom Holland, has multiple variations of the webs, like a web bomb or an electric bomb. I find this shit very useful, but the only downside is that it has a cooldown, and the cooldowns usually involve you having to beat somebody's ass. The normal webs cooldown just involves you having to wait, and I greatly appreciate that. You can even use your webs to take away people's guns if you upgrade it. The upgrade system by itself is genius, because the more you play, the more you do things that Spider-Man would do in the movies, and who doesn't want to be Spider-Man, right? The web is an amazing use of Spider-Man in terms of combat and just plain fun. Now let's talk about the defense. You can dodge with circle, and you know how to dodge when there's a symbol on your head triggering Spidey sense. Not only is it really helpful, but it's accurate as Spider-Man, so I love it. You can actually upgrade your defenses to be stupidly OP. Like there's this upgrade where if you do a perfect dodge, it webs the opponent's face, which blinds him for 4 seconds. This is stupid OP against the brutes, which you can't even hurt unless they're webbed. Is it a little too overpowered? I mean, I guess, but it does make you feel powerful, and I do like that. And just make a higher difficulty, or don't upgrade it if being OP doesn't tickle your fancy. And now we have the combat. You can punch with square, and you can hold square to send dudes in the air, so other bad guys don't fuck you up. You know, unless they have guns. You can press triangle to launch yourself to any bad guy that you're looking at, and I love this. In the old Spidey games, it was kind of hard to pick a specific bad guy, because you had to walk up to him and punch him. But with this one, you just launch yourself towards the bitch. However, if they have a weapon, do not do that, because they can swing their hammer in your face, and the brutes can just straight up fuck you up if you even caress the triangle button at them. You can even swing kick people. Who never wanted to do that before? And you also have focus, which when filled up, lets you do an insta-kill on bad guys, which just looks so cool. It can also heal you, since one of Spider-Man's powers is a self-heal, because he's a spider. So yeah, you have a lot in terms of your arsenal in this game, but my favorite part of the combat is when a whole bunch of guys start jumping you, and you have to multitask. This makes the combat feel fun and complex, and I love that in the game. It's why I still play Dark Souls and Ocarina of Time. And that's not all. Every Spider-Man suit that you get has a fun little suit power added in it that gives you a special power, like filling up your focus so you can insta-kill like 2 or 3 bad guys, which helps a lot depending on the situation. I never really used the other suit powers, but it fits a lot of playstyles, like the suit power that makes you really sneaky so the bad guys can never hear you. And you also have little additions to your suits called mods, like this one that increases your XP more than usual. The combat is beautiful and works really well, but there are a lot of problems that I have with it as well. I think this game's combat is a little too boring for me the more I play it. Yeah, I know it has a lot of upgrades, different webs, different missions, but I think the combat is boring when you do that shit for 17 hours, okay? For me, the beat 'em up combat gets fucking old the more you play it, and that's why I can never finish a game like God of War. It's not that it's bad, but it's not something I could do for more than 5 hours without being bored out of my mind. While I don't think the combat is as mind-numbingly easy as other beat 'em up games, I still think it has a little bit of that boring nature in it. And another one of the shittiest things that this game has are stealth missions. These missions are the absolute worst missions in this game. Only one of them is good. One of them. But besides that, all of them are shit. And you want to know something? They milk the fuck out of these missions. The amount of stealth missions is fucking stupid. I have 2 main gripes with these missions. They are clunky and they are repetitive. They do not change it up at all. You distract a guy, you go forward. Now distract this guy and go forward. Now distract this guy. I fucking hate it. Also, the controls don't feel right for stealth missions. This is not Metal Gear Solid, okay? The game wasn't built to do stealth. Since the game is really combat focused, stealth missions are a stick in the mud for me. And the fact that they have so many of them is stupid to me. And now let's talk about the side quests. Oh my god, there's a lot of them. There are backpack missions where there's like 55 backpacks all over New York City and you gotta find them. The reward is the homemade Spidey suit from Homecoming. And honestly, I don't think this side mission is bad. It takes a literal second to grab the backpack, so I'm not butthurt. But there are 55 of them, so... There are Black Cat missions where you gotta find a hidden kitten somewhere in your FOV with a specific camera. And you know it's nearby because your controller will vibrate when you're looking at it. There are only 12 of these in the game, and the reward is an amazing Black Cat Spider-Man suit. So, I mean, I don't mind. We have landmarks where you take pictures of specific places in NYC because Peter equals photography. So, it's kind of cool. Also, I have no idea what the reward is besides tokens. Oh, and yeah, tokens. When you do these side quests, you get specific tokens. If you do landmarks, you get landmark tokens and etc. You use these tokens to get Spidey suits. I'm not joking, that's really all you do with them. If you like a suit, grind for that bitch. That's what I did, and I had no problem with it. There are these little fun side quests, though, that you can do for the Taskmaster, where you defuse bombs, beat up some dudes in a time limit. It's fun. You even get to fight the Taskmaster at times, which is fire. And then we have the hairy missions. I don't like these missions at all. Having to capture some fucking polluted clouds, like, no, I'm done. And we also have bases where you have multiple ways of either fist guys, demon guys, or sable guys. You can get more tokens if you complete the challenges I gave you at the beginning, and these are really fun to do, albeit a little time consuming. And then finally, there's a mission where you catch pigeons for Howard, and these are decent. These missions are fire. They add a little more stuff to the average completionist, and even for a non-completionist, if you like the Spidey suits, then you'll most likely grind for it as well. We also have actual side quests, and I don't like these. They're fucking boring and long. The actual main story quests are my favorite part of this game because they're all different in their own way. I won't spoil what happens in them, but trust me, it's a fun fest waiting for you to complete, and the story's spectacular. The gameplay overall is a mixed bag for me because while I like beating up bad guys, I don't think it's 17 hours long fun, okay? But the side quests are a little bit addicting, not even gonna lie, especially with the rewards being new upgrades, new Spidey suits. It feels fresh. The main quest feels so different from just beating people up that it feels fresh for every mission, and I love it. There's a lot of good, there's a decent amount of bad, but overall I would classify it as just good. This section is where I talk about all the boss fights because I don't want to spoil anyone about any of them. The Kingpin fight is really easy and a nice introduction to how brutes will work for the rest of the game. You just web him up and punch him. Nothing really to it. The Shocker fight is actually a little challenging. You have to throw shit at him, but it's a little hard to do because this prick won't stop shooting. It takes patience and timing, and I like it. The Martin Lee fight in the train is a sick boss fight where you have to dodge all his attacks and then beat the shit out of him until a cutscene comes. He feels more like a mini boss than an actual boss, but it's still really fun. Okay, now this is where the real bosses come in. Electro and Vulture is such a fun boss fight, guys. Having to web up Vulture while also making sure Electro doesn't shock your ass is so challenging, and vice versa. What a great boss fight. Rhino and Scorpion is a fucking hard one. Having to get Rhino under these things to knock him out, but also watching out for Scorpion's poison is a lot harder than you guys think. If you're beating up Rhino, you're most likely gonna get your ass beat by Scorpion. And if you're fighting Scorpion, you're gonna get your ass beat by Rhino. It's also fucking loony. As long as you get away from one of them, you'll be able to beat the shit out of a specific guy. Overall, pretty fun and ball-busting hard fight. The second Martin Lee fight is easy, but fun. And finally, there's the final boss, Dr. Octopus. It's pretty simple, but goddamn, is it a fun fight. Webbing his arms and then slamming him in the ground, it's beautiful. Beautiful. And then swinging around trying to dodge his throws, but then throwing one back at him. Oh my god, this fight is fun. Granted, it is actually really easy for a final boss, but you know what? It's a very fun final boss. Especially if you like the story, because this one's emotional as fuck. This game is a treasure of a Spider-Man game. The story is fantastic, and if it was a movie, top 3 for me, right next to Spider-Man 3 and The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I'm not being sarcastic, those are actually my 2 favorite ones. The visuals are fan service-sation, with not just Spider-Man, but Marvel shit as a whole, like Daredevil and the Avengers. The music is a Spidey classic, with my favorite being the title screen music. But the gameplay is the only issue that I really have with this game. The stealth missions are shit, the combat gets repetitive after 17 hours, but the swinging is fabulous. Side quests are actually fun, like collecting backpacks and catching pigeons in the sky, or defusing bombs from a psychopath. It's also diverse. The gameplay is a mixed bag for me, but it's mostly on the good side. I think everything that doesn't involve the gameplay really carries the game for me, especially the story. I can't stress that one enough. Overall, really fun Spider-Man game with a ton of fan service if you're a Marvel or a Spider-Man fan. This game's got a little bit of everything, and because of that, I gotta give it an 8.7 out of 10. Well, guys, I made it to the end of the video. Spider-Man PS4 is pretty much a game for any kind of Marvel fan. I don't give a shit what you are, but especially for Spider-Man fans. Obviously. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next review, which might be, and I'm saying might be because who knows, maybe I have some other plans, but it might be Security Breach. So stay tuned for that. Peace.